Fear will make you or break you. And what I've learned over the course of my life is that fear is the catalyst to success. Because anything great, anything that you would be proud of achieving is totally immersed, or the journey of achieving said thing is totally immersed in fear. The other thing that I've learned about fear is that on the other side of it, we typically find freedom. Fear is all-encompassing at times. Fear will light a fire under your ass, or it'll force you to hide under the covers and think it's going to go away. But the truth is, fear never goes away. Fear is always going to be there. And when you can come to terms with that, your ability or your desire to want to face it and at some level look for it are going to be the foundation of what makes you great.
An entrepreneur straight out of New York City, Michael Chernow. What's cracking?
What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Kreatures of Habit Podcast. Today's episode is a solo. It's a solo episode where I'm going to talk about fear. It's so interesting. Right before we started rolling on this podcast, I was having a conversation about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Tonight's that fight. I don't know when you'll be hearing this episode, so whoever fought that fight will have won or lost. But I can only imagine the fear of Jake Paul right now, knowing that he has to face a guy like Mike Tyson. And I just want to say, whether you like Jake Paul or not, you have to give the man credit for committing to something like that and going through with it. Fear is probably the most powerful, I guess you can't even call it an emotion, but the most powerful influence in our lives. Fear will make you or break you. And what I've learned over the course of my life is that fear is the catalyst to success. Because anything great, anything that you would be proud of achieving is totally immersed, or the journey of achieving said thing is totally immersed in fear. The other thing that I've learned about fear is that on the other side of it, we typically find freedom. Fear is all-encompassing at times. Fear will light a fire under your ass, or it'll force you to hide under the covers and think it's going to go away. But the truth is, fear never goes away. Fear is always going to be there. And when you can come to terms with that, your ability or your desire to want to face it and at some level look for it are going to be the foundation of what makes you great. Every single thing that I've gone through in my life, good and bad, was influenced by fear. And now I got to say that for the last 20 years or so, I've been in this world of recovery where I found fitness and nutrition and mindfulness and family and love and business and courage and confidence, my ability to commit. If you're listening to this and you're sitting in a pool of fear, just know that you've gotten through everything that's come your way in life so far to date. You've literally gotten through everything. It might not have been pretty. In some cases, you might not have been proud of it, but you've gotten through it. And I'm here to tell you that you'll get through this as well. My advice to you is run at the fear as fast as you can. Literally attack it, charge at it, especially if you have no choice, because hiding doesn't work with fear. Escaping with spending money, eating food, drinking alcohol, using drugs, spending all day at the gym, running 7,000 miles straight, it doesn't fix the fear thing in life. Fear is a very real, vibrant, and alive influence. Everything that I've ever accomplished in my life was influenced and propelled by fear. And now I can honestly say that I look for it. I hunt it. I want it, because fear makes us better. It makes us stronger. It makes us more confident. And I owe my life to it, straight up. I genuinely owe my life to going from one fear journey to the next. And you can too. You don't have to hide from fear. I'm giving you permission now. You just don't have to hide from it. I've said it before on the podcast, and I really do strongly believe it, that pain is the price we pay for greatness. Pain is the price we pay for living. And it doesn't necessarily have to be physical pain, but mental and emotional suffering, it's just part of life. And trying to numb it out or evade it in some way is a waste of your time, waste of my time. There are definitely moments where I just want to curl up in a ball and like close the door and lock it and not face life, also known as fear. Life is scary. It just is. And the more fear you have in your life, from my experience, the harder you're trying to put numbers up on the board. So I'm going through something now that's totally scary. I kind of feel like I'm never not going through scary things, but I have the reps and the mental muscle memory and the physical muscle memory to know that all I need to do is ask for as much help as possible, continue to play offense, put the right foot in front of the left, look for support in the people around me, get them aligned with and on board with what I'm doing, be communicative, and just keep pushing. And if you're going for something great, if you're going for something really hard, if you're starting a business or you're running your first marathon or you're doing your first competition or you're trying to get into the greatest school you can, or you're having your first child and you don't know what to expect, just keep going. Just keep going. Remember, there's only one thing on the other side of fear, and that's freedom, true freedom. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be free from fear, because chances are fear is right in front of you once you get that little moment of grace. It's kind of like being in the ocean. You know, I'm not a big surfer, but I've surfed a number of times, and I've gone out there when the waves are, 6 feet plus, and you get out and you try to catch a wave, and you crash, and then you turn around and there's another massive wave about to crash on top of you, and then you get smashed by that, and then you turn around again, you finally surface, and you look behind you, boom, there's another wave right there, coming right at you. And it's kind of like a metaphor for life. Like, when you're trying to do something great, when you're going after hard things, they're going to just keep coming. So smile at them, attack, be on your toes. I also think about if you walk into a boxing ring, which I've done many, many times, and you walk into that ring on your heels, it's not going to take very much for your opponent to just push you and you're going to fall back. However, if you're on your toes and you're moving forward, always moving forward, it'd be very, very hard to get you down. So I just wanted to talk about fear today. It's such a real thing in our lives. And anybody who says they're fearless is lying. You're lying. There's nothing wrong with being courageous, but just because you have courage doesn't mean that you are fearless. Even the toughest people in the world doing things that they've done 100,000 times, there's a level of fear and anxiety and stress and being scared. There just is. We're human. We are one of one. You are one of one. There's not a single person out there that is you, and there never will be again, and there never was before. However, we do share some similarities, and one of them is definitely the influence of fear. So you're not alone. You've gotten through everything else in your life to date. You're alive. That's facts. And if this podcast resonated with you, it'd mean a lot to me if you shared it with a friend. Anyone who you think can listen to this, anyone who you think is going through a tough time right now, anybody you think who's sort of looking down the barrel of something really, really hard and can use a little inspo, not motivation, inspo. There's a big difference. Inspiration and motivation are different. All right, y'all. Enough out of me. Get back to your day. I love you. I appreciate you. Give me a 5-star rating and a review. It'd mean a lot. Until the next one. Peace.